Okay, the program just that we're running up there in the upper left just took that profit. We did the good 1500, 1495, and she just went short, fully robotic. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. On YouTube, YouTubers are getting a view. Been quite a day, huh? And everybody getting all lathered up. Man, it's gonna be a new bull market. The Fed's gonna cut interest rates and yada yada yada. I wouldn't get too excited about that stuff right now. Not at all. Um, but we're just doing our thing. Our little trading program, we made a little adjustment there last night, as you can see. The beginning balance here on this particular program is at 23, so she's doing just fine. She's made about $1,500 since last night, about 1,100, and she's in this little trade right now. Swing Machine is doing its thing as well, and we hope you're doing your thing, whatever that might be. And we invite you to visit the website. Let me put that on there. I'll type it in there. I usually type it in, say, encourage everybody to visit the website. This is your opportunity. We never know when we're going to do this. We try to do it, every a few times a week. Anyways, could be at late at night, could be during the day, middle part of the day. It's your opportunity to ask us questions. That's all. Be sure to visit our website to learn more. Now, we had a contact from a very nice gentleman from Portugal. Never been to Portugal, always wanted to go, still want to go. And he was saying he was really enjoying our videos and he would really like to sign up for Q School, but doesn't speak English. So I don't know how that would work. So if he's monitoring us, hey, how you doing, Tina? If he's monitoring us, we got your messages, and his name is Jose. I don't know how we could do that. There are these translation programs. I think even Google has them, or YouTube. I think you can translate them, but we're pretty small, so we don't have translators. And I don't know how. We have a 3-week program, and unfortunately, I don't speak either Spanish or Portuguese, and I don't know how that would work. So if you are in another part of the world, let me just put it to you this way. The first thing that you want to do is find out if you can get TradeStation. Well, a couple of things. One is to be a monthly member, you don't have to do anything. It's $100 a month. You get the chance to see what we're seeing, what we're looking at, and you can determine from one month to the next if we're giving you the value that you deserve. So that's that. There's that part. But if you want to become an annual member, which this nice gentleman from Portugal wanted to do, or at least he thought maybe, the first thing that you would want to do, first thing is, can you get the TradeStation platform that we have here in the States in your country? Now, TradeStation is owned. We have no affiliation with TradeStation, but we use their product. And have for years, and we couldn't do from a trading standpoint what we do, and they just are phenomenal. I mean, the product is just phenomenal. And I it's even hard for we've had it for years. It's even hard for us to keep up with it. It's just great. And now they're based in Florida, the United States, but they're owned by, from what I understand, unless it's changed, Mitsubishi Bank. So I can't say enough good things about them. So the first thing that I would want to, if I was in your shoes, in this gentleman's shoes, if you're in another part of the country, world, do you have access to TradeStation? And do you have access to the same version that we have? That'd be the first thing. Because if you don't, you really can't become an annual member, because our programs won't work on any other platform. You can have other platforms, and many people do. A lot of our annual members have TradeStation, but then they could have multiple other accounts too, which we do too, right? So you could be taking the signals from here and still affecting trades. What was I going to say? But once you do that, to become an annual member, you do want to visit the website and explore what we call the Q School. So we kind of slow things down. Now, if there's a language barrier there, I just don't know. It just, I'm just going to leave it up to you to suggest ideas to us. But we're going to want to talk. Well, generally, this is what we do. We generally want to speak with a person for an hour or two a day during that Q School. And if there's a language barrier, because I'm not conversant in other languages, and I put it on me. My hat's off to everyone else around the world that can speak more than one language. I can't. I just don't know how we would do that, and it would be very time consuming. So, I don't know if there are translation, packages yet that could do that sort of thing that quickly. I don't know, but I'll leave it up to you. So if you're in another part of the world, um, if you have a way of translating the video messages and whatnot, and you would have to work that much more independently for sure. So, any case, um, always a challenge, right? So, I always think of the story of, when we went through high school, we had to have to get into college, we had to have 2 years of language, right? So everybody would either take like French, and you had to have 2 years, or they take Spanish, right? Well, I was so bad. I mean, I was really bad. I don't have a very good. I love music, for instance, but like I have I'm really tone deaf for like music. So I took a year of French because anybody could get through a year. And then I took a year of Spanish because it was also introductory, and that was it. So I got my 2 year requirement. So when I went to college, it's kind of a funny story. Kind of funny. I didn't know what the hell I was signing up for. I kind of get in at the last minute the school, and I signed up for a Spanish class. And I walked into was myself and another buddy who's from the same high school. We walked into this big, conference room or whatever. All the kids are there. First day, and it's our Spanish class. And the teacher, can you get this? She starts talking Spanish, and she starts writing on the board in Spanish. Well, I start to panic. I felt like George Costanza at Seinfeld. I'm like sweating bullets, and I'm like, what in the world? What the hell? And my buddy's name was Jack. I'm like, Jack, what the hell is she saying? Damned if I know. And so I turned to the kid behind me, and I'm like, what's she saying? He goes, she's saying that this is welcome to the Spanish class, and that from this moment forward, there will be no English in this class. Well, when I heard that, I mean, I freaked out. I'm like, what? You kidding me? Now, she probably was a great teacher, right? It was going to be great immersion. How the hell are we going to learn Spanish if we can't speak English? I said, I got to get out of here. And I was just panicked, and my buddy's like, "You kidding me, Don?" I'm like, "No, I'm not, Jack. I am getting out of here. There's no way I'm going to be able to learn how to speak Spanish if I can't speak English." I just gathered up my stuff and left, and I turned around, and he was about 20 feet behind me, and that was that. Then he's like, "What now?" I said, "I don't know. We'll go get another class of music appreciation or something." Just, oh my God. Probably would have been a great class. Probably would have been a great I'm sure she was a great teacher. She seemed nice enough. But the thoughts of being in a class and I wasn't going to be able to ever hear any English, I just panicked the hell out of me. So if you're bilingual, or some folks are trilingual, man, I don't know. Many are today. Um, great asset to have. I don't. So this program, I should also put up here. This is fully robotic, right? So I did not put that trade on. The machine put that trade on. Had a $90 drawdown. That's what that 90. See the minus 90, and then it was up plus $700. Now, could I go up there and capture that money? Yeah, but I don't really know for sure. How high it's going to go or how much. So I'm not going. I'm going to try not to do that. So I'm just going to put a note up here. This is fully robotic trades, right? That's what that means. But so when we say fully robotic, that means the machine is putting the trade in and taking it out, but I could intervene mechanically and override it. That's also what we mean. Now, there's a lot of brokerage firms that won't allow you to even do that sort of thing, right? You got to, you can get carpal tunnel, with your hand molded to the mouse and having to, execute every trade. Now, I could, so I'm going to just draw an arrow here. Nope, that's too big an arrow. I'm going to resize that thing. And what I'm referring to is these trades here. There it is. Now, I want to make sure as you're passing through that everyone understands. I know everyone wants to trade robotically. I get it. It's a great way to go. It's a fantastic way to go. But there are steps that you have to go through, and you do need to have good acquired trading skill to get there. You have to have that. Okay. It's just like everything else, like flying a plane or scuba diving. I think that you got to have, probably some good, swimming skills, maybe. I guess you don't have to swim when you're a scuba diver, but you probably a good idea that you do know how to swim. You're comfortable in the water, that sort of thing. So you've got to get if you're not comfortable trading mechanically discretionary, you don't understand what it is, you don't understand how to do it. I don't want to give you the impression by doing these videos that you can skip that stage and not learn how to swim and get right into the diving part. Not a good idea. So you're not going to be able to skip the discretionary trading skills. You're not going to be able to skip the mechanical trading skills. You're going to have to hone and work on those. And then then you can get yourself into a robotic state, and then you go back and forth and back all the time. And there's nothing, you don't have to be fully robotic every minute of every day. But that's what we're doing. So we take a look at what's going on here on Swing Machine. Let me mark this up. So Swing Machine can also be made to run robotically. We're not trading it right now. You can see the market rolling over right as we speak here, literally right now. So let me highlight this, and because it's doing it right here. It's always so much fun. I mean, really, this is, God, amazing. The Swing Machine called the NQ. The Swing Machine, amazing. Isn't it a blast, Tina? It is just a beautiful thing. So what I'm going to do is, you can see the VIX is still on a 5-minute, is still short though. That's what that means. It went short, at 3:05 a.m. And that's why that market was up so strong. It's rising against the short. It's not along yet. So we want to see this VIX respond to this sell-off here. Do you see the number 2 here on the 5-minute? That means that the 5-minute signal is confirming right now. Now, I'm not suggesting that you take these trades, but I'm going to highlight this. And there it is. So it's now on its third 5-minute, right? But when that lit up white, that is the signal. That is the signal that our members will earmark. They can get it triggered. They can send alerts to their phones, to their emails, but that is the signal actually, not this. See this short entry here? That isn't the signal. What you need is you want the white box here with a 2 in it. It's a hint that it's coming, but on the 5-minute, the 1-minute, went earlier, went 48 minutes ago, and you'd be up 700. So, but it's getting ready. Let's go down here to the Russell, and the Russell. Now notice too, 145, 130, 135. Isn't that crazy? All at about the same time. That's because these markets have been commoditized. They all move together. Then oil is long. Right. So there's no oil and gold and inflation. I don't know what the hell the Fed's going to do. I don't really care, but they got a problem, and oil is still running, and gold is trying now. Gold on the 5-minute is trying to get long again. If it confirms, it'll turn totally green here, and then we'll get a green 2 here shrouded in white, and then gold will be back on its horse. Now, Bitcoin, the Bitcoin futures, this is a big boy Bitcoin, right? This Bitcoin futures contract, you can get a micro, but The mini contract is 5 coins. So it's huge. It's a huge contract. I just want you to know that you can't trade this. If you're trading a micro, I'm not sure how much the leverage is, but the leverage on this is huge. And you can see why here, and here it is. So the signal, by the way, as an example, the signal went long 125 5-minute segments ago at 2:50 a.m. The signal is up. It went long at 66,100 and it's trading at 69,260. So the signal is up 4.71%. But the position, if you use this mini, is up much more than that. It's up 15,000, and I'm not sure on how much margin that would be. So you calculate that on the money used. But because the reason why it's up so much more than that in percentage terms or in dollar terms is because of the leverage, right? Does that make sense? So this one's short, this one's trying to get short, it's trying, and this one's trying to come up, and this one's doing its thing. And that's yeah, it's a beautiful thing. It is just, I don't know, isn't it? I mean, a lot of noise out there, a lot of noise, right? You know, we got inflation, we got deflation, we're landing, we're crash landing, we're no landing, we're soft landing. We got inflation, again, deflation. The Fed's going to cut. No, they're not. They're going to cut 6 times. No, now they're going to cut 3 times. Now they're going to do this. Oh my Jesus. Just turn them off. Do you see? I thought it was a great news. They say that the journalists are experiencing an extinction event. That is so beautiful. They're gonna have to, as the guy said, I was listening to, said they're gonna have to learn how to put up drywall, do some real work. We could, I think this world could use a little less of this so-called journalism degrees too. Sorry if you are a journalist. Gold and silver, yeah, crazy, aren't they? Just running. And the intra margin for Bitcoin is $88,000 now. So you can get a micro, right? Which would be $8 grand, right? It'd be 8,800. So if you would be up, if you had a micro here, you wouldn't be up. So if you did the mini, you'd have to use 18,000, you'd be up 16,000, which still isn't bad. If you use the micro, I think it would be 8,800 and you'd be up like 1,500, which wouldn't be bad. Of course, we had a big fat short on it just in the last couple of days too. But if you're inclined to want to trade Ethereum or Bitcoin, let's see if I can change this. I don't want to screw up. My computer's a little angry because we did not turn it off. Let me see if I can get the daily on gold. No, that's not accurate. Let's see if I can at GC. I can use the continuous contract. All right, there's the daily on the continuous. So if you had been a member, right, there's no need of time stamping anything because it is what it is, folks. Here is gold. 25 days ago, Swing Machine went long gold at 2,076.50. The trend is solidly up. Now she's pushing into euphoria, so can go higher, but likely to pull in at this level. If you had traded one mini, you're up 23 grand. If you traded a micro, probably 2,300. Now, if you traded 10 minis, 5 or 10 minis, even 5, you're up 100,000 in 25 days. And if you did that in your retirement account, well, taxes are deferred. And you know something, folks, I would be a lot more comfortable holding $100,000 worth of gold futures at $2,000 an ounce than I would be holding $100,000 worth of NASDAQ futures at 18,000. Now here is the signal. Here's the NQ signaling right now. See this shrouded white? That's the signal. So our members will have this programmed. So again, it'll send them an email, send them an alert, and now we can go ahead and we can shroud that this 5 minute, and we'll see. Now I'm not suggesting anybody take these trades at home or on YouTube. That's not why we're doing this, right? We're just doing this as an educational opportunity to show you're on delay. Let me bring this back here. So I'm going to probably get rid of and silver is pretty much the same thing. If I put in silver at SI is 23 days ago, then you're up 16 grand. So that's what 25, 35, almost $40,000 in a contract, in a gold futures contract and in a silver contract. You'd be up $40,000. Now if you're sitting on cash, you're sitting on cash. And let's put this GCM 24. And we'll put this in. Now, we will share our lessons with you, during the Q School, and we will share all of our tools and insights. But I can't do this for you, right? I can't place trades for you. I'm not a broker, right? Now I know people skirt that and stuff. We don't. I put that in the wrong place. And it's more than just not for liability purposes or anything, but I do want to stay, in the confines of what we can and cannot do. But more importantly, when we started to do this, I consciously said to Susan, I don't want to be a person that I don't want to do business with, like today myself, or even back years ago. Meaning, I never wanted to take the assets that we had made, that we had saved, and turn it over to some guy or a female or person that I really don't know or don't, and have him make these decisions. I would rather do it myself. So if that was the case, then I wanted to set up Stock Market Caddy so that we could facilitate that for others, right? It's your money. It's your time. Maybe you don't want to buy gold. Maybe you want to buy oil. Speaking of, let's see if we can go get oil on a daily. Let's see where oil is. So then you trade oil. And I don't know why this thing's giving me a hard time. So I'll put the continuous in here. So 39 days ago, Swing Machine said, get long oil at 75.48. So if you had put on one contract, you're up 10 grand. If you had put on 5 contracts, you're up 50 grand. You put on 10, you're up 100 grand. Well, you don't need me to say, go buy oil. We're going to give you the machinery. TradeStation is going to give you the machinery. We're going to give you our software. And then you just got to set it up so that you can see it and track it. And it's up to you. And these trades are getting long and getting short and doing this day in and day out. I mean, it is a blast. Okay, so I don't know why I'm getting this. I think I know why. So it'll populate. I'm supposed to turn off my computer once a day, and I didn't. And she gets a little angry with some of the memory. I may also have a lot of video, so she'll repopulate here in a little bit. So let's take a look. 5-minute segments ago, if you took this short, you're up $500. 5 minutes, less than 50 minutes ago, you're up $500. If you want me to tell you a story, I could tell you what, I could make one up. That's what the journalists do today, right? They get, oh, the market's selling off. All right. And the producers probably go into some coffee room and a bunch of kids in there, under 30, and they make up some story, what happened. Something happened in the world, right? And they just make it up. I tell these other stories too. I remember it's probably sick of them, but can't believe I tell these personal stories. But as a kid, there are two things that always come to mind when I think about this sort of thing. Um, I wasn't in school yet, so I had to be five or under, because when I was in the first grade, I was 5 years old, where my birthday fell. So I would go wherever my mama went, and we went to an A&P store, an old A&P store, and it was an old store. I just remember it was weird because I remember it had sawdust like in the coffee aisle and stuff. A real old store. And I didn't really. I used to like being with my mom, but I really like going to these they called them department stores. I didn't really have a mall, but the department stores, and I'd hang out in the toy department. But the groceries were something I had to do. But I just wanted to get in and get out of there, and I couldn't understand. And so I asked my mom when we got to the car. I'm like, Mom, why do we have to stop at the cashier? I just wanted to get the hell out of the store. And she's like, what do you mean, Donnie? I'm like, well, I don't understand. I mean, we do this, and this is where my mind, even back then, right, said, I don't understand. You give them money, and then they give you money back. She goes, yes. I'm like, well, why do we need to do that? Why don't we just leave? Well, we got to pay them. I don't get it. But you're giving them money, and you're giving them money back. And I was pressing her on it. I remember it. And she goes, Donnie, she said, well, let me show you something. And she took her time, and she started showing me nickels and dimes, and like, here's a dollar bill, and there are 10, it's telling me that. And I'm like, I don't really get it, but it's money. She goes, yeah. And she goes, well, Donnie, she said, the what you're going to learn when you go to school one day, and when you get into college, they're going to teach you something called value. I remember her saying that under five. I absolutely remember value. What do you mean, value? And I couldn't grasp it. And she goes, but you will, but she indulged my question. She really did. I remember that. Unfortunately, they didn't teach us value. They didn't teach us that during the 12 years. And mom, um, they didn't teach it to us when we were in college either. No. In fact, most Americans don't understand value today. When Bernanke, remember Bernanke? When Bernanke was chairman of the Fed and started his quantitative easing, he was interviewed by our 60 Minutes program over here, and there's a video of it. You can pull this up. And he was talking about quantitative buying of bonds and whatnot. And Scott Pelley, one of the fake journalists, if ever there was a fake journalist, to bring it full circle, he said to Bernanke more or less, well, aren't you, going to be creating money out of thin air, and aren't you going to be devaluing the dollar? And Bernanke said, no, no, not at all. A dollar is a dollar. That's what he said. He said, unless this is how he positioned it, and you can pull this up, do a 60 Minutes Bernanke Scott Pelley interview from 2008 or 2009. And he said, unless you're going to Paris and sitting in some cafe, will you feel the effects of maybe a weaker dollar? But here in the States, a dollar is a dollar is a dollar. Imagine. And the American people swap that up. Why? They don't understand value. They still don't. We're trying to decipher value, and here I am, some years later, trying to decipher value every single moment of every single day. And when you really stop and think about it, something only has value when there is another person or another party on the other side that is willing to pay you for that value or sell you that item for that value, right? That is called liquidity. 20 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago, the people who were holding the futures contracts said, enough. There's no more value here. We're going to sell them. And they're going to keep selling them until the buyers show up. Value, liquidity. That's all we're doing. We're basically at that A&P store, exchanging value back and forth and back. Mhm. Now, the folks that are here is just a handful, and our members work very hard at this. We don't have thousands and tens of thousands because the reality of it is, and we know this, most people don't want, they want the money, they want the return, but they don't want the responsibility of doing this. If any of this resonates for you, then you definitely got to visit our site. You definitely got to give us a call. And you definitely, because it's a beautiful thing, folks. It is an absolute beautiful thing. Now, I could go up and close this, right? And we would have 1,500 plus 1,800 in the bank, but I'm going to let her run. The other little story is um, probably about the same age, wasn't in school yet. My mama trying to get me out of the house. And I had four siblings, right? They were all older and they're all in school. So I was just, and everyone else was in school. It seemed like, so I was looking for something to do. And it's kind of funny in a way. And so my mom put like a little coat on me, a hat. We're in a cold climate up in Boston, and gave me this little booklet, little booklet. And I couldn't even have a pen. She tied a pencil to the spiral ring little booklet and said, "Hey, little Donnie, why don't you go out in the neighborhood? I think I had a thing for the news. And why don't you collect the news of the neighborhood?" Now, I couldn't cross the street. I lived on a city block. I could go to the top of the block, but I couldn't cross the streets. I couldn't leave the block. I could go around the block, which was, quarter mile, probably a mile total, probably not even a mile, but I couldn't cross the street. But it sounded exciting to me. She goes, "Why don't you go out?" In other words, she just wanted to get my little ass out of the house and away from her so she could do her housework. And of course, I didn't know that. And so I went out and I heard a siren. We lived in the city. And I run to the top of the street and I can see the fire trucks, you know, blowing by. But I can't cross the street. So I go running back to the house and I didn't even know how to write. I just scribbled something. Of course, I run back to the house and I want to tell her the news. I just saw a fire truck crossing the top of the street. Oh, well, what happened? I don't really know. Well, Donnie, you're gonna write the story. You gotta, you gotta go get the story. Well, I can't cross the street. So well, maybe you can talk to some people. Maybe you think about, okay. And I run back up to the top of the street. And I come back and I proceed to tell her a story. And I can remember it to this day. I said, an oil tanker. Because I used to like to watch the oil trucks come to the house and drop oil off. I said, an oil tanker crashed. I totally made it up. I said, an oil tanker crashed. She's like, did? Yeah. And I just started making it up. Little did I know, I was preparing myself for a job at CNN. Because that's what they do, is make this shit up. Oh my God. You know, um, incredible. So they couldn't wait to get my little ass in school. And I did not go to I did not go to a kindergarten. I rolled right into the first grade at age 5 in a parochial school. And man, what a shock to the system that was. Holy smokes. And and I still had all these questions still. Um, I had all these things when you think about it, in the mind of a kid, and that's what they say too. And I say it here, stay curious, be curious. This is supposed to be fun. Trading is supposed to be fun. I don't have all the answers. I can't, I don't even try anymore, right? But it's supposed to be fun. And I just say, stay curious, ask your questions and, and, and I welcome it. You can push me on it as well, because when I got into the parochial school, I started out when I got to the second and third grade, I started asking them, okay, well, I started asking them the other questions, on a bigger subject. And I had all these big questions, value and all this other stuff. And when I get into religious school, it's like, okay, well, if God created all this, then who created that? All that stuff, right? All those questions, and the nuns weren't terribly they were terribly eager to tell me, but they just said, hey, you have to, basically it said you have to have faith. But that's another thing for another time. But I, from a trading perspective, I do not want to change anyone's belief systems about anything, right? So I'm not going to answer any of those questions. I'm not going to even attempt that. I just think that as a trader, if you're doing this day in and day out, I think it should be fun. I think you should it be something you enjoy, and I think you should be curious. And you know, I think you should be skeptical. There's a difference between being cynical and skeptical. I think you should be skeptical. You don't necessarily have to be cynical. Um, I try not to do that. And but in the meantime, we're now in 35 minutes, we're up $1,200. In 25 minutes, we're up $1,600. In 15 minutes, we're up 560. In 45 minutes, we're up another 1,000. Oil in 45 minutes is up 1,000. And and here we are. And if this market totally rolls over and crashes out, we got a long ways to go. We got like 2 hours. This is the beautiful thing about trading intraday. You don't have to wait for, we don't have to deal with the Greeks. We don't have to wait for the week to close. I mean, it's rolling. Um, they will they will make up a story, and it'll be an oil tanker crashed in the hills or something. It'll be something, you know. So I don't I, I don't give too much thought. I hope you don't. Had another person one time, family member, constantly asking, why, and well, why is the market going up? Why is the market going down? That's the rational side of your brain. I get it. Um, and I would try to answer that question. When you can let go of that, you're gonna feel a lot better. Just let go of it. It's just not even worth it. You know, enjoy the moment, you know. Why is the sun out today when it wasn't out yesterday? You don't ask yourself that question. You just enjoy the moment. If we got inclement weather, you're gonna stay indoors and stay warm, presumably, or stay cool, whatever. Um, it is what it is. What I'm not doing, and we will, of course, we will when we have a person rolling into Q, Joel, on Monday. And we may have some other folks too. So please know the Q School is on a first come, first serve basis, and we will do it one-on-one. So it does need to be scheduled. So please make sure you do that. Um, we will be looking at charts together, and um, but that isn't something, that we do here or even for our members, day in and day out, looking and pointing at a chart. Now they presumably all have swing machine up. At least I hope they do, right? I hope they do. But they may be looking at time charts. They may be looking at point and figure or Renko or range bars. They may have other programs running. They may have many more contracts up than I do. They may be smaller. It really doesn't matter. It matters to them. It matters to me. I want them to do well, um, but they're engrossed in what they're doing, and so are we. So now, if you take your $1,600, you take your 1,600. If you take your $2,000 here, if Tina took her $2,000, she took her $2,000. You can't beat yourself up, but you can begin to learn to relax your trading a little bit. So when you're making new high ground, we'll generally sometimes set a 50% trailer type thing, so that if the account comes back 50%, then we'll call it a day. But this is looking really, really good right now, right? Looks, things changed in a hurry, just literally just as we came up. So we were at 23,000 at 11 last night. We're now at 27,000. There are 24 trading days in a month. If you take off Fridays, because we like to take Fridays off. I think Friday's a good day to take off for a host of reasons. Not a day that you want to get started. Should be a day, I think it's a good day to reflect back on the week and just get ready for a nice weekend. So if you work on Sundays, which we love, and you take off on I should probably take this too, by the way. Let me see if I can get our Camtasia running. Wow, if you could only see what I can see elsewhere. Man, what a beautiful, beautiful trade this got. Absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to tape this so you'll see. If you're on YouTube, you'll see what we'll do is we'll copy the last couple of hours, and then we'll condense it down to a minute or two, and folks will see it. But there are 20 trading days in a month, and if you make $100 a day, if you have the pay, and I would say this, if you have the patience to put in 20 days a month and make $100 a day, it takes patience to do that, and you'll make $2,000. 200, you make $4,000. If you put in 20 days and you make $1,000 a day, it's 20 grand. And your trading life is probably going to change in a big way. The biggest concern I'll have, maybe the biggest concern you'll have, will be euphoria. You may, as humans, be like, whoa, that was a beautiful thing, right? And I'm going to tape this. So we get to guard against euphoria and despair. But there might be some days like this where you make 5 or 10,000 in a day. Whoa, on one mini, on the same stuff. But you got to be prepared. On Monday, we may have to fall back and just make, 200 or 100 or 500, Not every day you're going to do that. Can you accept that? I think you can. I think you have to learn. I think you have to be aware. And that's really what we try to do for our members, particularly during the Q School, is just making them aware of what the market is capable of doing, what they're capable of doing, and then just staying in the moment. The golfers talk about that, staying in the moment. Don't think about the previous trade. Don't think about the trade for tomorrow or what it's going to do Monday or the next 20 days. Let's just play the shot that we got. I'm going to shut up. Told some personal stories there, but that's okay. I think you should know who we are, who we are not. We're real folks, and with all the same dreams and aspirations of everybody else. And you You're not in competition with us. We're not in competition with you. There's no reason why you can't do things differently, do things better. It's just fine, totally fine. Now, anyone who came into this market this morning and seeing the market run, 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 and got all excited about the Fed and Joe Bag of Donuts and everybody, oh, the Fed's are going to cut rate. And they got all excited and they came in and they bought call contracts on the S&P. They're going to shit. It's the oh shit trade. They buy it in the morning, they get all excited, they start feeling good, they get up a couple of bucks, and then it rolls over, and then they're not worth anything. Then they start closing them. And the broker dealers who bought the shares to facilitate those trades will do what? They'll dump the shares. They don't want to hold that crap. They know it's not worth much. And they'll dump it. But we know that goes on day in and day out. And so from one extreme to the other. Notice here the VIX. Remember I said we needed the VIX to do what? To get long. Now, you guys may have noticed it before I did. My eyes did. I just didn't comment on it. So let's take a look at the VIX. The VIX went long at what time? 2 o'clock. That means what that means is the futures players who are looking at the VIX are making a judgment call that the people who are playing in the options market, they are closing their call contracts and they're buying put contracts. That's what that means. And it responded to this sell-off here at 145, 155. So it's confirming this. So as long as this VIX stays elevated like this, and stays up, then this market is probably going to continue to sell. It's only 230. And if this continues, this thing could really accelerate into the close. We could. We'll see. I'm going to let the machine handle it. We got a nice profitable session. We did the good 3,000, so almost 4,500 bucks since 11 p.m. Put together 20 of those days. Take a couple of weeks off, take a vacation, relax. When those questions, came up, I don't know why. I think it was because I had an older brother and an older sisters, right? So I was always trying to figure shit out. And the baby of the family always thinks that he's getting the short end of the stick. I wasn't. I was pretty spoiled, but I was always asking these questions, and so you learn. And one of the questions that I just couldn't get an answer on was in the late 90s and the 2000s that we were only supposed to buy and hold. And I kept asking myself this question. I kept asking Susan this question. I kept asking all the brokers and brokers, and they never gave me a satisfactory answer. And that question was this: if I am supposed to buy and hold all the time, who the hell is doing all the selling every damn day? Well, it's the pros. You can't do that. You can't. Oh, I get it. I get it. Yeah. I don't like being told, and I hope you don't like being told that you can't do something. Maybe I can't. Maybe there is something, but I tell you what, I'm going to, when I'm told that I can't do something, I'm probably going to look at it about 20 different ways. Why? I want to know why. That's the skepticism of it, right? Okay, I was afraid of that. I better turn off this video. I thought it locked up there for a minute. I'm running a product from Camtasia, which is a video recording service, and it's very consuming. They've added way too many features, I think, but it's very consuming on our processor. So I thought for a minute that my computer locked up a little bit. That isn't TradeStation, that isn't even YouTube. If it happens, it's not even a computer. It's this processor hog. So it appears that I thought it stuck there for a minute or a second. If I notice it again, I'll have to turn that video package down. So we're also broadcasting on Zoom, so we got a lot of things going on. Okay, so we're not going to take this off, right? We're going to let it run, right? We're not going to make a decision on the money, right? There are times when we have this. It looks like, once again, the account is still running. The radar is, I'm going to have to pause this Camtasia, unfortunately. So the radar is sticking a little bit. So if you're watching this on YouTube, the radar is sticking a little. Here, we don't ordinarily get that, but that's on account of that product. So I'm going to have to pause that. Let me close some applications here. Let me do that. Mm. But if you make decisions purely on the money, you'll be trading greed and fear, and you are then at the mercy of some not very nice people. I don't like them, folks. I'm not from Wall Street. I am not from Chicago. I am not from this industry. I don't like their industry. It's why we have done what we've done, and it's why we've built what we've built. Here we go. So, okay, so there we got that Camtasia. I had to turn it down. So this is a beautiful thing. We are to the good today. 5,000, almost $7,000. Now our members were putting puts on. And a beautiful thing here now. Watch the stories get made up. Market in turmoil, wild dump. Yeah, Parker. Parker says, um, let's get your name. I don't want to, I want to keep Parker's, privacy here. So he just says, I could show everybody, but I won't. And he just says, I can see the smile. Yeah, I think we're all smiling, right? It's a beautiful thing. I know Ken's smiling. I know Chris is smiling. I hope IL is smiling. I hope Jeff is smiling. I hope Steve is smiling. Steve loves to see oil go. And yeah, we're definitely smiling. A beautiful thing. And I think Tina might be smiling. Oh, I see what I did with the oil. I got the wrong contract typed in there. That's probably my problem. CLK24. There it is. There's the CLK. So sorry about that. We'll bring that back up. That's a beautiful thing right now, folks. So we're up almost since last night, $7,000. Trading one mini contract. Now, the amount of capital necessary to trade outside normal hours is about 18 grand. During the day like this, it's 1,900 bucks. 1,900. So this trade, went on not that long ago. That's a three bagger. Today, it's 300% return on 1,900 if we were to take the profit right here, right now. We're going to let it run. We're going to let it run. Run, run, run. If you have any questions, be sure to visit the site. Be sure to ask. And so as we did this was, we came up right at about this time. This came on afterwards. 145, $3,000, 155, 4,400, 130, 1,200, 135, 2,100. There's, $10,000 in available profits. The VIX goes long at 2, confirming that yes, there's something wrong. They're not liking it. So what that VIX is doing, that's a VIX futures, very leveraged position. And then they're placing a bet that the options market is going to dump. That's what that means. It means they're going to stop buying calls, they're going to start selling calls, and they're going to stop buying puts. If that happens, the broker dealers who facilitate the calls, what do? They dump stock. Like they're dumping trout into the Toccoa River up in Georgia. They dump it in there. Get rid of it. Get rid of them. Oil futures, oil going up. Something happening on the world stage or something. I don't know, maybe. But those are the rational questions. I don't have time to even consider it. I don't want to consider it. It's the rational side of my brain. I don't need to consider it. I just need to react. If I'm long oil, I'm long oil. I got a 2% move in oil and I'm up one mini contract, I'm up 1,600. If I got 10 of them, I'm up 16 grand. Gold. You saw gold going long. We saw it, right? We saw that together. That was also at 155. So let's write this up. Let's get a square and put it in here. And it's up 700. Now, Bitcoin also went long. Looks a little stuck there, but it does seem stuck. Let's make sure that that's I think that's right. But that takes a tremendous amount of leverage to play the five coin futures contract. It is what it is. We don't have to be concern ourselves with time stamping on a tweet or sending out alerts or anything. It is what it is. The machine is showing us what it is. Now we're asked all the time, why don't you send out alerts now? Why don't you expand your services? Why don't you do that? We're not set up to do that, right? I'm not a broker. I'm not a financial advisor. We're not sending out specific trade setups. We're showing you how we go about trading. We're going to share with you our approach. We're going to share with you our technology. Better than us sending out the alerts, you can build your own alerts. If you understand, and we're going to be explaining to Joel in detail how Swing Machine on Monday works. He's going to be getting his introduction. And then he can, from there, and our members they can set alerts almost on anything to be sent to their phone, to be sent to the email. That way they're getting alerts that have meaning in alerts that were defined by them. Much better, right? We're not going to be like everybody else. We're not trying to be like everyone else, and there isn't anybody like us. I'm on the Twitter sphere. I don't see anybody doing. I see everyone else doing what everyone else is doing. I don't see anyone doing what we're doing, which is great. Is that you, Joel? Uncle Jer? I should know. I think it is Uncle Jer. Beautiful day. We'll be ready for you, Joel, on Monday for sure. Well, we're gonna have you teed up, Sunday night, but we'll be ready. Yeah, it's you. Yeah, good to see you. I'm sorry we couldn't start earlier. It's probably best that we start on a Monday, but yeah, it's been a beautiful day, a beautiful week actually. We've learned a lot of things, so we'll be showing you some of this too. And this beautiful. What a reversal. What a reversal. Now it's going to have the candle formation without looking at a chart could have the looks of what we call a shooting star, right? Shooting star. And what we call, so I'll draw this out. When you have a run, let me get my marker here, maybe. Let me see. Be with me. Shoot, oh, here it is. So if you have a market that is going up, going up, going up, going up, candle after candle, they all appear to be the same size, but going up. And then you get a day where you know, maybe even gap up, even better, and you shoot up. And then you come back and form what is called, some call this a shooting star, or we call it an inverted hammer, and they get all the bears to capitulate. Then it comes right back down and finishes. And then within 1, 2, 3 days, you gap down within 3 days. Then you've got a nice reversal, and you just don't want to see that high. And that's what's setting up for tomorrow. Yeah, exactly. Well, Joel said you can't wait for Monday. Yeah, I can't wait for Monday either, because the other piece to this is just when he's saying it because of Q School, but if we panic sell here this afternoon in the last hour and a half, which it looks like they're doing, and then we have another bad day tomorrow, then it sets up for a very bad day for the bears on Monday and Tuesday. So, you know, we're not prone to, you know, predict crashes and that sort of thing, but this market is set up to do that. What will appear to be a crash-like event. I'm talking a day where you're down like 5 or 6% in one day. You know, maybe a little bit more, but you know, there's certain things. So, but that's you know, if I had to look at a chart, that's probably what we got going on. It certainly looks that way. But we're not trading that right here, right now. You know, we're doing what we're doing, so it's a beautiful thing. And we'll erase that. Of course, you get the hammers on the downside. You get something that looks like this, and this is what we had going on in October. We're going down, we're going down, we're going down. People are like, oh man, can't stop going down. I can't. They're long. Oh man, I can't stand it. And then we have a day that we shoot down, and then it comes right back up, and it forms a hammer. The hammer out all the weak hands, and then within 1, 2, 3 days, we go up. You set your stops under here, and then up we go, and we go. And that's how October did reverse off that. Now we have programs that are set up to capture these types of turns, not just on the market, but on individual stocks. And Joel's going to get a chance to see that firsthand, Joel. And we call that the Pebble Beach. And it's a program and a radar that we used to use before Swing Machine. And it's very, very good. And you can do it not just on a daily basis, you can do it on a 15-minute basis, which in the stock environment, and even or an hour on options. So if they come out with a story yet, they got to be, you know, the market's getting a lot of attention here now. So, you know, the producers on CNBC or Tom Lee, or, oh, geez, oh, it's just going to be a little profit taking. Nothing really to worry about, you know, but they'll be coming up with something, right? They're going to come up with something. It used to bother me, right? I do want you to know that if it bothers you, it used to bother me too in the early 2000s. Really bothered me. And I was reading all the books about the Federal Reserve. I was very, very angry about it. And but I funneled that anger, that frustration, that contempt, that cynicism into getting, as I said to Susan, we are not, Susan, going to be beholden to these pigs. Excuse me, but I'm like, we're not. Absolutely not. And that's what we set out to do. And then, you know, as we got more successful and, you know, just let go of the anger. It just isn't worth it. It just isn't. So I would ask you not to be, I get it if you're frustrated with them and on all of it, but if you can let go of that and just focus on what you need to do for you, for your family, and just let go of it, because they're going to do whatever they're going to do. They're not leaving. They're never leaving. They've always been here. That's the thing. They were here in the 80s and the 70s. They were here in the 50s. They were doing it in other fashions. They're not leaving. And, so we there's a great leveling going on, right? This idea that these journalists, we go back to that, are facing an extinction event. There's a great disruption. There's a great leveling. Did you see the pictures of the Chicago, was it the Chicago pits where they used to trade in the pits? And it's like, I think they're going to turn it into a yoga studio or something. It's empty. It's gone away. They're extinct. So there's in this style of trading, I personally I don't think it's going away. I think it's going to become even more. It just keeps growing. And even little stock market caddy, we just keep growing. It's crazy. And which is great. But it's controlled. We can only do so much, but it's just going to be this way. Now, I do think that trading is going to be much more active, 24 hours a day. There may be other products. There are going to be certainly other markets. But I don't think it's going away. I don't think so. I don't know about the currencies. I don't know, you know, is it going to be a crypto, going to be multiple digitals? I don't know. Probably some of the tokens and stuff, but I still think we'll have currencies of sorts, but I think it's going to be a great thing. And I think if you get acclimated to it and get accustomed to it now, you're going to be in a great position and learn how to set up these tools so that you can, now we try to show in a video every night, but it can be easy maybe. I hope not. Or one's eyes to glaze over. We're long gold. I mean, we're long gold, we're long silver, um, and we're short these markets too. On a position basis, in addition to our intraday trading. So we will, as we go further out, we will use options. If we go out beyond like 90 days, very unusual to do an option beyond 90. Then we'll usually, consider it like an investment of sorts, and we will reduce leverage almost entirely. My mama, she did not go to college, but she was a very bright lady, and fortunately passed away when I was in high school. But she also collected, and they were John F. Kennedy, JFK silver dollars, and she had these bookends. They held encyclopedias, a whole set of encyclopedias too. We had a lot of encyclopedias and stuff in the house, and she was very high on education, but she was collecting the JFK silver dollars, and she did explain to me, and I thought at the time when I was a kid, that these silver dollars prior to a certain date, Donnie, are pure silver, and then these other silver dollars are not as much pure silver. Speaking of silver. And then she started explaining, how they were, even with the coins, right? So she didn't have a college education, but she understood, had to, manage the family. She understood value, and she most definitely did, and was trying to impart that, to probably all of us. And I think you could walk into a football stadium today, pick out 10 people in a stadium of 80,000 and ask them what the value of the dollar is, and they'd probably give you a look like, what? It would be like deer in headlights. They have no idea. And it's got nothing to do with their level of education. They just don't, they, in Europe, of course, there are folks listening to us, I'm sure in Europe, other parts of the world, they get it. They get it. They most definitely get it. And in Japan, they most definitely get it there too. The men in Japan that go to work every day to make the money are called the salary men. They call them the salary men. The women stay home and take care of the family and take care of the food and whatnot. But they're also huge traders, the women. And they call them, if you look this up online, called the Watanabes. Watanabes. Now, I don't know what that means. I guess I should. I think it's spelled just as you would pronounce it, the Watanabes. And they're traders, and they trade primarily the yen because the yen has been, as you talk about, shaved. So they get it. They understand that, and they will buy and sell and buy yen, and they will do it with other markets as well. And they are a force to be reckoned with in and of themselves. They're very, very good, and they can move. They can't move markets themselves. Now, I don't know what the yen has done. I don't want to punch it up here and disturb what we're doing, but my guess is that I would think that the yen has, let me see if I punch it up, has rallied on account of that earthquake. But let me go look. That's what I would think. We'll see if I'm right. But let me. Do I have a radar set up? I don't want to plug it in over here because I don't want to overload. I don't have it still set up. Let me see if I can punch it up. The symbol is at JY. Yeah, so the yen has, speaking of the yen, yen's made a big, big move today. Yeah. Today, just moments ago. What are we doing? I don't have up our bonds. I don't know what interest rates are doing. I had to close one of our workspaces, so I'm at a little, I didn't want to see. We'll look at it tonight. Japanese hold a lot of our bonds. And if they decide to, what I'd be a little concerned with is if they decide to dump bonds, could impact interest rates. So I'm not in the camp, not that this has anything to do here, but I am not in a camp that the Federal Reserve is in control of anything. I don't think they're in control of anything. I think it's smoke and mirrors. Big reversal today. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Wow. If you have any questions, don't hesitate. This might be a $10,000 day. Now, as a member, we may have members. We have members in the Zoom room. We may have members passing through. Well, I want you to understand when you join as a member, we're commenting on the daily closes and trying to give you a perspective of where the markets are and what they're doing. That doesn't mean that we can tell you definitively. You shouldn't have this expectation that we can tell you definitively what's going to happen the very next day. Some people sometimes may think that, right? That would be like on a 5 minute chart, trying to decide the very next candle, the very next, one. And that's a tall order, even on a 5 minute level, on a daily level. But so we're not, sometimes we can tell you, hey, we're probably, by Tuesday afternoon or by Friday, we think this and that. But we're not trying to predict the next day. So you shouldn't have that type of expectation. But, but you know, we would hope you would have in time and garner support when our Nicholas timing model, we have something called the Nicholas timing model that is a highly specialized algo that is looking at the four indices, the ES, the NASDAQ, the Russell, and the Dow. And it's also compressing the data of the VIX and the data of the 10-year yield. And it is a signal that comes in, the signal fires at the end of a day. It doesn't change from every day, but that's when it comes in. And will either be a bullish mode, a bearish mode, or a flat mode, yellow mode. 3 days ago, 4 days ago, she had been green like for a few days. Anyways. And then 3 days ago, she went yellow. And then 2 days ago, she went short. And then we had a nice day. What was it the other? I'm losing track of days. Was it probably yesterday? And then now this morning, the market was up, right? So a new monthly member, we didn't hear from anybody, but I hope they don't have the expectation, might have said, oh man, got it wrong. Not so fast, right? Not so fast. It's a daily signal. It's a daily signal. And that signal is still going to be intact. So rather than having thought that that signal was wrong, if a person said, something, with the market bouncing here against that signal, I might be able to come in here and get a better trade on. And those signals are usually around for, so like the last big signal that we had was a long back on early November. And it was long for the longest time. I mean, so we're getting a short signal now, two days ago. What I don't know is how long that signal is going to last and how high our profits might run. I don't know. But I do know this is that our highest profit markets have been on the short side, not on the long side, on the short side. Usually is the case. So I just, wanted to take a minute to make sure that I help everybody with those expectations. I don't want anybody disappointed. I don't want anybody, it doesn't get them all right. It doesn't, it doesn't. But, yeah, anyone who's looking, we had a young lady call, very nice. I got it. She's like, Don, is there one thing that you can tell me what's going to happen tomorrow? And again, we can do that somewhat, but nobody can do that every single day. That would be like getting the next bar, right? But we can talk in terms of probabilities. So like when the S&P, and again, I don't want to change this to a daily, but when the S&P was in euphoria and the VIX on a daily was in panic, I had a conversation with one of our members, Ken. And I said, Ken, he already knew. I said, when that happens, the likelihood is over the next 20 days, the market is going to pull in on a daily and the VIX is going to come up. And the likelihood that that happens is about 95%. It's like, okay. What did Ken do? He goes in, he gets himself some puts. He's got them. He got them when nobody else wanted them. Now the market starts coming down. He's got the direction right. He's got the timing right. And also he paid very little for them because the implied volatility was down. Now, when the sell-off comes, he's got the direction, he's got the timing, he's got the strike right, and then guess what? The implied volatility is going to start going way up. It's going to drive the value, there's that word, the value of his put contract way up, and he'll be rewarded for it. We get a 10% contract, we get a 10% correction. If we get that 10% correction in the time frame that he's holding those puts, now I'm not going to tell you what he's holding. If he's holding an SPX, it would have cost him about six grand, $7,000 for about 90 days. If he gets a 10% correction, it'll be worth 50 or 60 grand, at least. If he got 1, 2 on the SPY, it'd be 1/10 of that. If we get that, if the market goes down even more, he gets even more on a position basis, but he's still trading intraday. So you can use these tools intraday. You can use these tools hourly. You can use these tools daily. You can use them weekly, monthly. You get to decide. And you get to decide. So you get to decide what you're trading, the time frame, the interval. That's why you can't listen to anybody on CNBC when they say, like, NVIDIA's a buy. On what interval? I mean, if you don't know the interval, you can't, 10 years, 5 years, 2 days, right? Makes sense? I hope so. Big fat trade. We want positive outliers. We don't want negative outliers. And we have zero. I'm going to teach Joel starting on Monday. We want zero. We're going to have losses, but we want zero tolerance for negative outliers. And we're not arrogant about that. We're going to show them how to do it mechanically, robotically, and we're very serious about that because our performance isn't so much about the win side, it's the loss side. And so we want zero negative outliers, but we want to put ourselves in position for something that we're having today, a positive outlier. Covers up a whole lot of sins. Make sense? Any questions, let us know. I'll shut up and let you watch. Parker says this win should make room for people to breathe. I'm not sure I get you, but it'll, what can happen is you get a big move. Now, I'm not saying this is it's a little bit weird because it happened on a Thursday like this. So we're going to want to see how this closes. We got an hour. This could be one of those things where they can't get this market closed fast enough. They may be trying to get to 4 o'clock and close this market. We could be down another 50 handles on the S&P. We could be down another couple hundred on the NASDAQ. Entirely possible. We got a long time. We got an hour to go, an hour and 15 minutes. How do we come into that close? That'll say a lot. People catching on to that. Yes. And Parker saying he closed his trade. Good. Yeah, you got your cash. So, what can happen is we get a big move like this, and then brings in a lot more players in the next day, and then we can get into what we call the kill zone, and we go up and down, and do that for 2 or 3 days, and then Tuesday of next week, we get another leg down. However, being a Thursday and this type of action that we've just seen is very, very debilitating. This is a lot of damage being done here, and something's not right. So I'm inclined to think that I'm inclined to think it's going to accelerate. Our program is on that trade, so it'll be okay. If we accelerate down And if there's some sort of a headline, if there is something going on in the world that captures the imagination of the American public, they may come in. It's also tax season, right? So they April 15th, all their taxes are due, and they got a lot of profits and from last year, so they may have to do some tax loss selling, or not tax loss, but um, some selling to pay the tax man. So they may be more inclined to want to take some profits. If we get a gap down tomorrow, and if we get another bad day tomorrow, worse than what we get today, then we will be on crash alert for Monday, Tuesday. There could be that scenario where we come down and inside of 4 or 5 days, this market is down 10%. And, that would be a soft landing. 10% in a day is a stall, is a market stall and a crash. So we'll see. Mhm. I like to watch, I just kind of, other scenarios. I'm not a pilot, but they say that when you're flying a small plane, if you take it up and the plane starts to stall, one of the mistakes that new pilots make is they turn the plane and try to go back to the airport to land. And when they do that, they put themselves in a spiral and they crash and usually get killed. Whereas what they really should be doing is when they stall, is just look immediately in front of them and try to put it down, glide it down flat, someplace flat and in front of them. Don't spin it. If you're along this market and the market begins to stall, for the love of Pete, do something, get your account grounded, get it protected with options, raise some cash levels, have sold some calls, get it protected so you don't, get whacked. But most people don't have that confidence, that skill set. They haven't practiced it. They haven't, so they're in the back seat. They're going to go wherever their broker is, and maybe he could be on the golf course today. I'm sure they play more golf than I do. Okay, so while this is dumping, let's go take a look at the S&P 500 through the eyes of swing. Let's see if we can go there. I'm going to try to open this up. There it is. All right, so we can ignore some of this writing here. Net change. Who is getting crushed today? NVR down 83 bucks. AZO, Booking.com, Broadcom, Metla Toledo, Lam Research, O'Reilly, CMG, Clack. Nvidia is down a nice 21 bucks. Domino's Pizza, which is all borrowed money. AMD. So all the chips are down pretty hard. Who's fighting this? Alta, Meta, Market Access, Humana, some of the bounces. And we can see, look at this. These are new downtrends. On a date, oh, excuse me. This is on an hourly signal. Um, Maybe I should do this. Let's clear that writing. Let me see if I can do this. Um, oh shoot. I'm gonna erase that, right? I forgot where I wrote here. Let's see. Okay, so let me erase these markers here. You can put Swing Machine on an hourly. So while it's here, let's just show you. So here it is. I forgot that I put this in an hourly. So if you had put all your stocks on an hourly basis, um, Apple went short 2 hours ago, or actually for this is on its second hour. So it's delivered $5. This is in points though, in points. Um, Actually, I take it back. No, it's based on a $10,000. 10,000, I'm sorry, it's $10,000. But let's put this all back on a daily. Let's just do that if you don't mind. Come here, all symbols, and we're going to put this on a daily. So it's going to take a minute to load. We'll let that, there it is. So here's Apple. Apple actually on a daily basis went short 37 days ago, and it's 9% you'd be up. Now, if you use the options, you're up much more than that. Who are the newest signals? Autodesk going short. AMCR. And I'm not going to short a $9 stock. 245 I might. Cruise lines. I'm not going to short a $15 stock either. But Cisco. This one is Paramount. It's actually long. Underwater a little bit. Underwater quite a bit. I don't know if that was on earnings or not. So Swing Machine doesn't get them all right, but gets quite a few of them, because if we were to sort this, still these are, this NVIDIA is just registering a dip. And I can't, yeah, I can scroll down. Watch that profit column. We're going to come down. Profits all green, making you dizzy here. I don't mean to, but let me show you. So out of 500 stocks, 431 are profitable. These are flat. And I just lost my cursor. I'm sorry. So I better not mess with it. I can't, there it is. And so the yellow ones are flat, and then the remaining 50, they are losing, but relatively small. The worst one is that Paramount, of all things. So we can use the same tools on stocks. And if you're comfortable with stocks or comfortable with the options, these are some really big trades here. So we'll go back, and I guess I can put those maybe I can put those markers back in if you like. Those are not done automatically, but I bring your eye to them. So we want to see what that VIX, we want to keep an eye on that VIX. And it is long, and that means the market is fearful. When the market's fearful, then we would expect the ES to be short, and it is. And you saw the yen Q. You literally saw it. Remember when it was a shrouded 2, it was only up about 100? That's $6,000. So you more than paid for an annual membership. One way to look at it. And here's oil. I'm just highlighting them. That's all I'm doing. But here we go. Okay, we're on our way. We hit 33,000. We got a $10,000 day. That's sweet. That's nice. Mhm. Anyone who stepped in and bought those puts when everyone was buying calls, everything going the other way, they're being rewarded. Those puts are going to shoot up in price. The more this, this is early, early. Now there'll be a lot of trading between here and there, just as there was a lot of trading on the upside. I don't want to give it, it doesn't go in a straight shot. So we are traders. We will trade it up, we will trade it down, we'll trade it down, we'll trade it up. Sorry, but that's what we do. If you don't have traders, you don't have a market. If you have only have buy and hold, you don't have a market. You will have crashes when they pull the plug. It's the traders that keep the markets relatively liquid. So you don't have, super crashes, presumably. But there's a lot of passivity in this market. There's a lot of, dare I use the word ignorance in this market? There's a lot of people that just think, oh, it just goes up every day and I just buy calls and I just sell puts and they're going to get a lesson. They're going to get a very hard lesson. Now, it may or may not be tomorrow or next week, but it very well could be. And it's just the way the market is. I can't tell you how many times that, we'll hear from folks and say, geez, Don, I only wish I lost, a tremendous amount of capital. So you'd rather get the education in advance on anything, right? Before you fly the plane, before you go scuba diving, before you go for a parachute ride. Okay, so now I am seeing the headlines. Maybe you've been seeing them. So, this is on one of our headlines. CIA warns of an Iranian attack within 48 hours, and the war cabinet meets. Um, I, you know, I don't know. I was just discussing this with, Susan just yesterday. Just yesterday. Um, I hope not, but I don't know, you know. So I'm just seeing that, but I'm not going to add to it. We're going to do what we do, and the world's going to do what it does, and I'm not going to add to that. Um, when the market is going up, the market is going up, and everything is right with the world. When the market is coming down, you know, there's a lot wrong with the world, and there's a lot. It's always that case. So I don't want to add to the noise. There will be a lot of noise. It might be that, and it might not. It might be something else. We never really know. There are some times, I tell the other story, I've told the story before, it was actually the case. Susie and I were driving over the Golden Gate Bridge. We were on a vacation, and I was telling Susan about how there had been an assassination of a I just follow politics in this, even that part of the world a little bit. And it was at the time about how a Mujahideen um, leader, if I remember correctly, it was Mujahideen, had been killed in Iraq and assassinated. And he was a little bit more aligned at the time with us, and said, it could be something. It could be the start of something. We don't know. And Susan, I remember saying, Donnie, I'd rather you not tell me that as we're going across the Golden Gate Bridge. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. And we came back that night and came back across, had dinner on the other side of the Golden Gate, and then we were actually staying in Carmel, actually, and we woke up the next morning, and Susan actually woke me and said, "Hey, Donnie, you got to see the TV. There's something going on. I don't know if this is real or not." And it was September 11th, literally the next day, out of nowhere, absolutely out of nowhere. We're just underway on a beautiful vacation, and all hell broke loose of the world. You just never know. I hope not, but. Members that are listening, if you remember, if you see the video, if you haven't seen it, you see the video for last night. What did we see on the VIX? We saw the VIX expressing concern 6 months out, 3 months out, and 30 days out, and not so much, near term, but out 6 months, quite a bit of concern. Hmm, you know, and it gave us pause. We commented on it. I want to check to make sure that I got the right oil contract again in there. I think I do, but I saw a headline that oil is up over $90 a barrel. I don't think that's the case. CME oil. I'm not sure which brand they're talking about. Let's go look at this. This is West Texas. Yeah, it's CLK 86. That's not over a 90. So maybe it's a different brand of oil. That could be. There are brands of oil, but I don't think it was up over 90, but certainly headed up that way. There we are. We're up over $10,000 since 11 p.m. Not something that can be done every day. We know that, right? Right. We're not suggesting that it can be done every single day. But if you're in position, you're trained, you're prepared, you know what to do, you will have days like this. You will. And if we got to fall back to just making $500 a day or $1,000 a day, then okay, then that's what we do too, right? Um, you know, I don't know how to put this, but I'll just tell you what I used to tell Susie. Back during uh, the crash of '08, um, I do. I tell the story. It's personal, but I'll tell it anyways. It's just us. And Susie had been out. She came in, said, "Hey, Donnie, how did we do?" And so Susie had a pretty good day. We made 10 grand. Ooh, Donnie. She comes over and gives me a little peck on the cheek. I felt 10 feet tall. The next day she goes out, does a little shopping, comes back. I said, Donnie, how did we do? I said, Susie, market's great, man. And we just had another $10,000 day. Woohoo. She gave me another woohoo, gave me a peck on the cheek. Third day, she goes out shopping. And she comes in and says, how did we do, Don? I said, well, we did all right. We made like 2 grand. Oh, okay. And proceeded to go to the other side of the house. No peck on the cheek. No big woohoo. Hey, that didn't feel so good. Wait a minute. So I didn't say anything. I finished the day. And when the day was over, I called Susie in and he sat in the other room. I said, Susan, I said, you remember how, 2 days ago you gave me a big woohoo and a peck on the cheek? Like, yeah. And the next day you did. And I said, I didn't get a woohoo and a peck on the cheek. Oh, I'm sorry, Donnie. She gives me a woohoo and comes over to give me a big, no, no, no. I said, no. I said, I don't want that now. And I said, but I want you to understand. I know it doesn't look like work when I'm in the office and we're doing what we're doing. It may not look like it, right? But whenever I'm in here, I'm always trying to do the very best I can for us. Please know that. I'm never trying to hurt us, but there are never any guarantees. And I'm trying to act unemotionally. I'm trying to keep my emotions in check, right? And so I'm going to ask you if you want to come in and give me a woohoo and a peck on the cheek any day, I'd love it. But don't do that over money. Don't do that over a trading result. I'm going to ask you not to do it over that. Because I got to keep my emotions in check. And you're going to need to keep your emotions in check, right? So I am always thrilled to hear about what our members are doing. I am, and I love to hear what their profit factor is. But I'm always, you know, um, I don't know how to put it, guarded, protected. I want them to stay grounded. They should feel, I hope, prepared and expect to get it done, each and every day. So I hope that makes sense. And the other part of it is we were just saying this yesterday. I've said this before, because of what we do, because we're here and because it's the world markets and because, there's a lot of things, we are more aware of what's going on in the world, presumably than probably a lot of other people. There's a downside to that. There's an upside and there's a downside potentially. But it is what it is. I can't. I've just got to do what we do, and I hopefully elect the people that can make the best decisions. I can't get preoccupied with that, and I can't make decisions on that, around it. So, if any of this resonates for you, and it's like, hey, be sure to visit the site and be sure to give us a shout. Happy to talk with you. Really looking forward to getting to know you, Joel. I think it's going to be fun. I was said to Susie, with your experience, I think you're gonna I think you're going to take to this like a duck to water. And I think you're just going to have a blast. Okay, now I'm seeing another headline. I tell you what, I don't know. I don't know if this is true or not. I have to hear it. But now I'm seeing another one. U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken says Ukraine will become a member of NATO. Holy Christ. Excuse me, but Jesus. I mean, man alive. I don't know. I'm not going to go there, but mm, 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 mm. That could be more impactful. I mean, I don't think that's a good idea, but Okay, so we're going to come in. We're traders, right? We're traders, and I'm going to try to tape this as well. And we're going to go ahead and capture this profit. Um, and she may continue down, but I'm going to go ahead and put this in the bank. So bear with me. We're going to run the strategy. We're going to come in here. Bear with me. We're running the video. Yeah, we got it. All right. So we're at, and we're going to disable the strategy, see what we have, and we're going to close the position. We're in the house with 10,299.40. The account started at 23,000 at 11 p.m. last night. We're at 33,300. Now it may continue. We'll see where we're at and regroup and maybe turn it on again tonight, a little later. But we're going to go ahead and take that one. We also have options on, right? So, and we put those options on a position basis, a short time ago, not that long ago. Those of you that have passed by on YouTube, I want to say thank you. We'll let you watch the close after all this. And be sure to visit the site. Tina, it's good seeing you. Joel, we're really looking forward to getting underway on Monday. And don't hesitate, Joel, if you get any questions between now and then, though, to reach out, right? Don't hesitate. Anything in particular. Once a person goes into Q school, their education and takes precedent over everything else, and that's going to be the case for us with Joel. And we're looking forward to it. And it's now 10 minutes of 4. So I'm going to shut up unless there are any other questions. We'll let you watch. And Jeff is reminding us there's a jobs number at 8:30 tomorrow. So there could be another shoe to drop there, right? Maybe it's the jobs number, maybe it's something else. But thank you. So the markets could be volatile around 8:30. And we hope you've had a good day. We hope you've had a good week. And we'll look for you. And again, be sure to visit the site. You email us your questions. We'll try to answer. If you want to give us a call, feel free. If you sign up as a monthly member, we will give you what we call a one-day hall pass to give you a chance to watch. And if you're interested in the Q School, just know that we have a limited number of licenses and we can only do 2 at a time. So we got to make sure that we have a spot for you when you can do it, and we can match it up. Have fun, everybody. Congrats. Great day, at least in the markets on the short side. And just by chance, the machine actually went right up and tagged it. So we got it a little bit before, right? So we did. It was a good call to take that profit, but the machine would have done it. So we're good. Our profit factor for the day is 20 trades, 5.11, and a little over 10 grand. Profit factor for the day. Let's look at the strategy. We haven't run this entire strategy, but this week the would have had 127 trades had we run exactly this all week, and a profit factor of 1.81 for a net of 15.5. So it had profits before. We were doing a little something different, but all good. Yeah. Yeah. Woohoo. Don't give me a kiss on the cheek now, Parker. Yeah, well, I'll take the woohoo. We're human, right? So, I mean, we want to, it does feel good, obviously, right? But we just, through the reality of it is the enormity of what it is we do. We got to come back and do it again. And it's just what we do. But I mean, it's like catching trout. It's like playing golf. I mean, you have great rounds and great days, but I've never had a bad day on the golf course, really. I've never had a really bad day trout fishing. And, and in the markets, uh, um, we can have an off day, but I don't want to have a horrendous day with nothing like that. With that, we don't want. Okay, sorry about that. I was just on the phone, but YouTubers, thanks for stopping by. We gotta get to work here for the evening session, but we wish you the best. Be sure to visit the site and have a great rest of the week.